Hey, house guests, I'm Andrea Chu.
I'm David Belleville.
And per usual, we're here to talk Big Brother. But joining us today is fellow BB enthusiast, an all-around good time, 10 Tampa Bay sports director Evan Klotz.
There's zero lies detected, and
Yep.
I do have the power of veto.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody else has won a competition besides Matt and Jag. It's good to hear.
Well, I'd have to say that Andre and I are the real winners here, having you join us today on the podcast.
Well, that's why I'm here, because wonderful people like you
Oh,
giving me compliments and making me feel great.
Thrilling.
too kind. So we'll start off with Sunday's episode, which was the dentist HOH competition. Johnny Mac's twisted dentist office. They had all the different skulls around the office, and they had to match them up with the x-rays, the teeth x-rays of past winners.
Yes.
Big surprise, Jag wins his second HOH in a row.
Yeah, becoming a theme. But I will say that it does seem like, I know there's been a lot of complaints about the competitions and the same people winning over and over again. Are they too physical? This was not really a physical competition.
No. It was open to anyone to win. It was a long competition. It seemed to take these house guests quite a while to accomplish. It looked incredibly difficult. But like you said, this was open to anyone to win. And, of course, Jag pulls it out like he has time and time again. He's becoming a legendary comp beast.
Yeah, he's incredibly well-rounded, but it's just so boring to keep watching him win.
Yeah.
Oh, big surprise, Jag wins again.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I believe, the history of this season has been eliminating a lot of people who would ever challenge top competitors.
Mm-hmm.
So we're right now down to the couple who have been able to fend off the targets that have been continually put on previous HOHs, which seems to have been a theme that if you win an HOH, you get sent home.
Yep.
It kind of stopped with Jag there. And then the other thing is the disparity between ability of some and Matt and Jag right now in the house is just such a large gap.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that Matt and Jag were doing, though, is making deals with every single person in the house. And they sort of started having to answer for that this week. Bowie Jane was like, it seems like you guys might be working with Felicia and Cirie. And they were like, no, definitely not.
And she's like, okay, cool.
She's like, all right, got it. No problem.
That's kind of the MO for Bowie, Felicia, and Cirie at this point, is for all of them to ride Matt and Jag's coattails to the finish. So the question then becomes, if that's the strategy, did they wait too long to try to take one of them out?
Mm-hmm.
Because although it's gotten them this far, how much farther is it going to get them when they're down to a final five?
Yeah.
They've already waited too far. The fact of the matter is, everyone has been scared to say Matt or Jag's name because they're so good at competitions. And in doing so, they're content with just riding to the end and losing. Like when Cory, America, Blue, Cirie, Felicia, all these people should have gammoned together and been like, we got to get Matt or Jag out and then regroup. But they were all so caught up in their emotions and worried about the wrong things. It's just in these shows, you can't be emotional. And you had way too many emotional players who just cared so much about being anti this person instead of how do I win? And Jag and Matt had a game plan of we are going to eliminate any people who can potentially get us out in a physical comp. And we're going to keep all the bad competitors left while everyone else is worried about dumb things. They're worried about how I'm going to cash in.
Yeah.
And to the house guests' credit, though, they did try to get Jag out in the earlier part of the season.
They did.
They did get Jag out
unanimously.
He has gotten lucky a number of times. He's also played his way into situations that have kept him safe a couple of times, but it wasn't for a lack of effort to keep Jag out. Now the surprise is Matt has not seen the block all season long for as big of a threat as he is. So
Crazy.
That's an accomplishment for him as well.
What I love so much about Matt's game is that he is aligned with a guy like Jag who he bought stocks at the right time. So Jag was at the bottom and then saved him, which, by the way, Jag has to get Matt out at the end because Matt's got the ultimate trump card at the end saying, you would not have been here without me.
100%.
So
I agree.
I think Jag at some point has to get rid of Matt more than Matt has to get rid of Jag. And by the way, Jag is a huge shield for Matt at this point. And then the most underrated part about Matt's game is that he has been so tight with Cirie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cirie was on the other side of the house, and that they've maintained this amazing relationship. And it was a way for him to kind of get information on the other side when things kind of broke apart and be connected to one of the strongest players in reality TV history. She's been there. She's done that. She makes it far in everything. She's won a couple of times. She's amazing. Yeah. And Cirie trusts Matt fully and has up until this point. So really, there's it's tough to sneak in any loose lips without it sinking your ship.
That's what we saw on Tuesday was like this weird, crazy game of telephone where Cirie was thinking like, okay, I want Blue to stay. And then she hears from Jag that Blue's actually the target. So she tells Matt, and then Matt tells Jag, and then she sort of tells Felicia, but not like directly. She was like, I'm thinking that Blue might go home this week. And Felicia went and ratted her out to Jag immediately. And the message is just getting like further and further from the truth, like as it's going through the whole house.
Well, I personally think that was Cirie's single biggest mistake of the season, to tell Felicia anything. Jag purposefully did not tell Felicia what the overall plan was, but Cirie decided to take that chance, and it bit her. Not up until this point, but with Jag's trust, it certainly did.
So I agree with all that. You're 100% right. Just Cirie has no other options. So
yeah,
I don't know.
agree.
I don't know what she can what she has to try to build an army against them. Whatever little tiny army is left, and it's not like Felicia's a strong army, but you never know. She's won an HOH before. She came really close again. Just in case, you got to plant the seeds. And you know, Felicia has been ruthless this entire season with her mouth. Now, it hasn't bitten her because she's so bad at competitions, and Jag and Matt have controlled really what happens, so they continually keep her. But if she showed any sort of semblance of I can win a comp here or there, she would have been gone 3 weeks ago.
Agreed.
Right.
Her game is terrible. I don't think anyone really trusts Felicia in that house.
No.
At
They
all.
shouldn't.
But it's coming down to the point where like no one's afraid to go against her in the end. So they're like, oh, we'll keep her around because it's fine.
And going back to your point, it's too late. I mean, you're trying to gather up the numbers that you have against these people, and you waited way too long because you know, and credit Matt and Jag because they made everybody feel comfortable. They kept winning, and so you had to keep being buddy-buddy with them out of fear for your own life that if you ever went off course, you were for sure the target because anyone you would ever talk to was in an alliance with them. And just, I think that they're playing chess and everybody else is playing Parcheesi.
Cirie, though, I do see a path forward if Cirie and Matt really solidify their final two and Matt turns on Jag the first chance that he gets.
Do you think Matt will stay true to Cirie, knowing that Cirie had kind of gone behind Jag's back to share some information in the house?
Yeah, because I think Matt knows that he won't win against Jag in the end. So he's like, I need to figure out a different path for myself. And Cirie is also thinking, like, she knows what's going on. She knows what it takes to win this game. She hasn't won a competition, and she knows that. So she's like, how do we try to get out the person who's won all the competitions so that, like, it's a more even playing field?
In my opinion, if I'm Matt, I got to keep Jag until the last possible second. So that final three, where it's going to be, if trusting what they say, where they kind of want them two and Bowie Jane, like, Jag, you're going home. Like, I know you want to be sitting next to me, but like, I need you out because that's the winning decision. Some people take the higher road and they bring them to the end and they stick with it. I think that, but I don't think that Matt can make this move at this point still in the game because people are still circling Jag, and Jag has so much blood on his hands. There's nobody who has his back over Matt's.
Yeah.
So the minute that you take Jag out, then Matt is it. Like, Matt is and then it's 3v1.
I don't know.
Whether it's right or whether it works.
I think
after Jag.
he should take the
Jag.
shot. I agree.
Do we agree with Jag's original nominations of Blue in America going back a little bit? Were we okay with them getting put up on the block? Eventually, Blue gets taken out of the game before the AA HOH. Do you guys think that was the right move for Jag's game?
Yeah.
Yeah. His final five in his mind was him, Matt, Cirie, Felicia, and Bowie, and that's what he got. because ultimately, so Blue goes home, and then we find out from, Julie Bangs Moonves last night that it's a double eviction.
Mm-hmm.
So we play, and this was shocking to me, was that Bowie Jane won the HOH, because I was like, what is she going to do? Because in my mind, anyone else who won, maybe other than Matt, was going to put Jag up on the block.
I think everyone watching had a collective oh, why?
Yes.
Because that would have been, I agree, that was the prime time to take Jag out, and you didn't have to politic or do anything. Bing, bang, boom. Everyone votes. See him later. I want Bowie Jane to make it to the final two because I really want her to explain what the heck she thought her game plan was. You getting dragged to the end with Matt and Jag, and how on earth are you ever going to explain to anyone on that jury that you did anything to be worth your while? She's just bad. She's a terrible player.
I agree.
Have to be
She's
honest.
Not playing to win, and the one time where she started sensing some paranoia, oh, maybe the people I'm choosing to ride with aren't working with me necessarily like they're working with everybody else, she had the correct thought in her head and did nothing about it. And when she was betrayed by people, she did nothing about it. If that happens in Big Brother, you're like, all right, fine. I'm finding a new squad of people to work with and take that person down. She thinks Matt and Jag are working with other people. Maybe try to do something, not just take their word for it and be like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Not to mention, if she would have gone after Jag and successfully gotten him out, talk about a resume builder for someone who hasn't really done that much. She would have taken out the top two biggest threats in this game in Cameron and Jag. So this really was a swing and a miss on multiple fronts, but especially about an underdog like Bowie getting out two major game players, and she didn't decide to take the shot. And another thing too, this was a fast-paced double eviction. They don't have a lot of time to strategize. So having a strategy beforehand, knowing to expect the unexpected and a double eviction or a big twist could come at any time, not having a strategy to fall back on and a foundation to fall back on, put her in a situation where she's just kind of flailing as she goes, rather than, oh, this was my target from the get-go, now I can apply my plan. She kind of just, in the midst of a double eviction, decided to make decisions on a whim, and they were weak.
I think she probably goes through life being the happy-go-lucky, everyone likes her type, and that's probably a really comfortable feeling for her to win these competitions. You're going to have to stab someone in the back.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get your hands dirty. And you know what? Guess what? They're still going to be friends with you because it's a game. You remove it for a month. They'll all be in the same text thread. They'll all be happy. They're all going to grow up together. They're going to be friends. So it's just I don't know about Cameron. They seemed like they really did not like Cameron.
Everybody's trying to play a social game and not hurt people's feelings, not get any blood on their hands. They're so worried about jury management and strategy that they're missing other opportunities to move their game forward. There are other aspects to this game.
I mean, Jag proved you can do both. He's in with every person and he wins everything.
During this HOH competition, though, I was screaming at the TV because I thought Cirie had it. She had a 2-point lead at one point, and I was like, let's go. This is where things are going to shake up, Matt and Jag on the block, or maybe just Jag and someone else. I don't know. But, I was ready for it, and then when Bowie Jane won, I'm like, this is her chance to take out another big target.
We knew what was going to happen.
Blew it. She absolutely blew it.
I was screaming, too. I wanted Cirie to win that so bad.
She nominated – who'd she nominate? America and Felicia.
Yeah.
Why?
This is the biggest no blood in my hands with five people left.
Yeah.
It's hitting a bunt single down 10-1. It's just really, as I bring sport into it, it just really is cool. You got a base hit. Doesn't matter. You're down by a lot.
Right.
So you got to string some things together. It was a bad move. It just encapsulates her kind of as a player. She's just not built for this game.
She's not playing to win. She's worried too much about staying loyal to these two people who are going to take her out at some point.
As soon as they can.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Then we had the veto competition, which was another super physical one, which was the ball pit thing. They had to go grab balls and then put them in a straw.
Can I just say something to go right back into the Bowie Jane thing? That show you how lost she is. She put one of the balls that they cover up the real balls in
the straw.
She put that in the straw before she realized, oh wait, that's not what the competition is. So that's what we're working with this season, by the way.
A reigning HOH.
Do you think that it was supposed to be a challenge to get the balls in the straw? Or they just messed up? Because I was everyone kept dropping it in. It was bouncing out, and I'm like, Is that supposed to be the hard part? I thought the hard part was supposed to be like finding them.
Oh, no, I think the hard part is trying to drop them in, but
Yeah.
Matt is an Olympic swimmer. Like, he literally probably could have, like, he was close to placing them in.
His arm was so long, he just like,
yeah.
boop.
He
And
just,
it was awfully physical too, so they were exhausted, and then they have to concentrate on trying to drop it in. So there was probably a little shakiness on the people who were a little bit more exhausted than others.
Mm-hmm.
The thing was, there again, we can get into a discussion about the competitions and maybe being a little bit more physical. That's worth having. I will say, Felicia and Cirie only dropped 3 total balls. So even if they went 3 for 3 and nailed all their drops, they still couldn't beat Matt, who had 7 in that same time period.
Because he was basically in his element. He was swimming in the ball pit.
Yeah.
Felicia
was
actually,
like, you know, he's
Felicia
right
went
at
in the
home.
ball pit and she didn't like emerge for another like 7 seconds. I was really actually concerned for her. I was like, is she breathing down there?
So then Matt wins this veto, and he ultimately decides to keep nominations the same, making Bowie's HOH very uneventful, and that's no better way to put it.
Exactly. I thought for a second, I'm like, maybe Matt will use it and then like convince Bowie to put up Jag. But like Bowie wasn't going to do that. And then like if he used it, then like Cirie might have gone up, which is like also his girl. So I had to, I'm like, oh, he's not going to use
Matt
it.
doesn't. Matt is number 1 right now. He doesn't have to do anything to risk any sort of his game.
That's
Everything
true.
is falling his way. Not only does he have the jury on his side, he's done such a good job with jury management and like his social game.
Yeah.
He has no blood on his hands. He's won vetoes, which is a great way to keep the blood off of your hands. He hasn't won many HOHs. He's won vetoes. He doesn't have to do things to shake stuff up. Other people do. When it comes down to him having control, literally keeping whatever you want the same is my direct path to victory.
Do you think if it's Matt and Jag in the final 2 chairs that Matt has an argument in saying, I use the power of invincibility on Jag, and he
1000%.
wouldn't have been able to do any of this
100%,
if it weren't for me?
Yeah, because he was out the door. It was like, what was it, 11-0, 13-0? It was a unanimous gone. He was done. He wasn't even jury, and Matt saved him. So I give Jag, he has a lot on his resume to try to prove more than that. But to me, if I were Matt, I'd just be like, you would not be here if it were not for me.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story. Like, I don't want to hear anything else. Like, his life was in my hands, and I saved him. And we worked together. But, you know, the fact of the matter is that I brought him here. So there is no him without me. And that, like, to me, that's it. Like, it's done. Like, there's no argument after that.
I agree completely. I will say if it is them 2 in the final 2, they both have a phenomenal case to
Correct.
make. I think we can all agree there. I also think that better than anyone in this game, Matt has been able to gain people's trust. And I think the overwhelming proof of that is being able to garner Cirie's trust throughout the game. I think she's the most knowledgeable, tactful, strategic player. So to get that person's trust shows your ability to really excel at the social aspect of this game, and I think Matt has done that better than anyone. Comps is only one part of a resume, and so what Matt has been able to do on the flip side has been better, in my opinion, than what Jag has been able to do, which he does have blood on his hands, so he's going to have to figure out a way to talk his way around that, while Matt, I think, is in the good graces of every single person that's going to be in this jury.
And I just want to say, I mean, going back to Jag, again with Blue, right, eliminating Blue, to just kind of show you some of the players we're working with this season. Jag lied to Blue, then had to backtrack because he realized he let the cat out of the bag with his invisible HOH. So he had to tell everybody after the fact, which was a terrible look for him. Horrible look. He never should have told anybody. That was a terrible way. That might bury him at the end, by the way, because it probably ticked off a lot of people. I think it was a complete mismanagement. Blue then took him at his word because she was so excited to get Cory out that then, looping back the next week, went all right back onto the Jag train of being cool with being a pawn, not understanding that 1 + 1 = 2, and then at the end has the gall, the gumption. Like, I believe you when you say Jag was next. Absolutely not. Blue
I don't know
was
why,
terrible.
Why did she trust him again so quickly?
Here's the thing. A lot of these players, I would have loved to have seen Cirie without Jared as an anchor. Jared was terrible.
Oh, he was pulling her down.
I would have loved to have seen Cory without being in a relationship, because I think that totally messed up everything. America was a nothing burger without like that Cory America, America, whatever.
Yeah.
She did nothing in the game.
No, I love her though.
She's
She's hilarious.
She's great, but she was just literally like in a relationship on the show. That's all she did.
There was a pivotal moment in the season before Cory got evicted that he kind of turned it all on and started to really put his foot down and let his voice be heard. And I think that's a product of the information that America was feeding to him. So whether or not it had overall impacts on the game, America absolutely influenced Cory's game. And in some ways, you could argue it hurt his game or it helped his game. But either way, there was influence there.
Yeah, I do want to talk about America because she made a really good point at the end. Her last 2 minutes on the show were her going in after the veto to Matt and being like, please, I want to stay. Like she didn't really have any good points other than just begging at that point. Didn't work. She was gone. Obviously, she's, I guess a bigger threat than Felicia, I guess. And then
Sure.
when she went out and met Julie, she did make a point and she was like, I'm so bummed that I couldn't win anything. And she was talking about how no one was taking a shot at Matt and Jag, but it's because they kept winning. And she felt like she never stood a chance against these athletic guys. So I think Big Brother should be predominantly a mental game. And the competitions should be more mental and a little physical, sure. But if you want anyone else to have a chance, we should even the playing field a little bit more and not have running involved in every single competition.
But I just feel like they've gone through. We can revisit that sort of stuff on the vetoes. I think the vetoes tend to be way more physically taxing. The HOHs, for the most part, in my opinion, have been very even.
Sure.
It's either a crapshoot sort of deal or a mental comp. There's been you got to eventually trickle in some physical, but I think for the most part they've done the HOHs fine. But at the same point, I do feel like this is being exacerbated because there was just such a disparity in talent level between competitors. I don't remember watching a season where there were a handful of really, really good players and just so many bad players, just so many people who did not have their eye on the ball.
But I also think that it's a result of CBS and Big Brother looking to expand who they're casting and diversify their talent pool for the cast. We've seen the most diverse casts that we've ever seen in the most recent seasons. I don't think how the game operates has necessarily caught up. So, they used to pretty much cast a very similar type of player in the first X amount of seasons. And now that we're seeing a better reflection of America, the country, not the player, I think now that's why we're starting to see a little bit more disparity than I can remember seeing in years past.
Yeah. Well, you think of Cirie, for example. No one knows how to play these types of games better than her socially, mentally. And so she would be a perfect person to succeed in this type of game. But she hasn't been able to win competitions. Granted, they're not all physical, so she did have a few chances. The odds are stacked against her in so many different competitions when she's up against these young people who are 21. And so it's if we were to even the playing field a little bit competition-wise, it would have been amazing to see the older players have more of a chance.
I just think that the people like Cirie, what they need to do is dominate social games and other things. And again, Cirie had that at the start. Izzy left, blew up her entire game. And then Jared also was so bad as an anchor to her game where she had to do everything to try to save whatever mistake he was making. She lost her identity in the middle, and then she really could never recover. She's done nothing this game. I love Cirie. She's awesome. I would have loved to have seen Cirie without Jared. I think we would have saw a different player. But and not to mention, Cirie's playing a game that she's never played before in a sense of this is probably double to quadruple the time she's ever been on another reality show. So there's probably a lot of mental exhaustion. That her game is a lot of sit back and just watch people talk. But I don't know. I mean, this is nothing new. Look back at the history of winners. They usually are physical threats. I don't know how you can really balance that out. I mean, they've done that throughout the show's history, and that's why I think a lot of the players have lost their way into gunning for the elite physical threats, and maybe just the people in the house need to realign their thoughts of we have to get people who win out and stick with that plan and not allow somebody to woo us, just like Cirie somehow woos everybody every time she's on a show. You know Cirie.
I die for her. Like, like if I were in that house, maybe I would just want to be friends with her.
That's what Izzy did.
And then like I would forget about playing the game.
Izzy took that secret to the grave.
I know,
Yes,
and
she
I feel
did.
for her. Like I would be the same.
Interesting too. Blue knew that secret as well.
I think she forgot.
Yeah, she had maybe have had a card to play at the end there, but she just decided not to play that one. But that's a conversation for another time, perhaps.
So our final 5 is Matt, Jag, Cirie, Felicia, Bowie. We'll see what happens.
I guarantee you I know what's going to happen.
We'll see if you're wrong. I mean, I think you're right.
I would bet a lot of money that Jag or Matt's going to win.
We'll see.
The HOH.
We'll see. We'll revisit this conversation.
It would be a triumph for the other 3 house guests to take them down.
Yes, and
floored.
We'll be back here to recap it all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.